Today, we have another young person from India with us as part of the Voice of the Young series. Hello, everyone. Good to be with you once again. Today, we have Shrusti Singh with us, a young economist. Over to you, Shrusti.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Sir, again, I would like to thank you for the opportunity and offering me the platform to, voice my concerns, my optimism about the world, and everything that I have to talk about. So, first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Shrusti Singh. I'm a recent economics graduate from Hansraj College, and I am planning to pursue my master's starting the fall session. So, sir, I would just like to take you all through the journey, through my college journey, first of all, like very briefly. So when I started college during the pandemic, it was a real game changer for me because being, conditioned to in-person teaching mode for the past 13 years, it was very difficult for us to transition to an online mode. So there were a lot of difficulties that I faced in, studying the given curriculum, exploring my interests, participating in extracurriculars, etc. So I started off with of course, economics curriculum, and then a lot of societies in college. So society culture is predominantly very famous in the Delhi University unit, but it is something that I feel is very important to have in undergraduate and also postgraduate colleges, since it offers a lot of opportunities and a lot of opportunities to explore oneself, a lot of opportunities to explore your interests, and maybe even offer something, that would be the future trajectory of your life. So I joined in a couple of I volunteered for a couple of societies. I got into a couple of societies, consulting societies, extracurricular societies, publishing societies, etc. And after the first 3-4 weeks in college, I realized, not 3-4 weeks, but after a couple of months when I had started hunting for internships, that is when I realized that there is one significant issue that us college students, especially in India, face. That is the employability skill gap, basically. So it is a global concern, but I particularly think that in India, this skill gap in the college to the corporate pipeline exists a lot, and it is a very wide gap. And not I'm not just talking about technical skills gap, but also non-technical and soft skills gap, because as I mentioned, like we've been conditioned to a mode of learning over the past 12, 13 years, which involves, basically reading through books and the lack of hands-on experience. We don't really get exposure to develop these skills of our own and develop a more strategic acumen to look at different problems in the world. And it is a major roadblock when a student when a student takes on from college and joins a corporate career, or maybe even pursues a higher education degree to get a close-up experience of how the world really works. So this issue, when I found that it is a major issue, I started to look for solutions on how to deal with this issue at a personal level, and how can I help my friends around me. So I came across this one particular society which was focusing on self-development in my very first year of college. And whoever I am, I would like to thank my seniors, especially for establishing that society, because a major part of the development that I've undergone is because of that society right now. And I continue to take on as the director of the local chapter of that society, and further as the chairperson of the Indian arm of that finance society. So basically what that society did or does is, select a bunch of students with similar interests in finance and economics, put them together, and let them work their magic. It's as simple as that. People with similar interests, similar passions, have like a lot of potential to bring things to light and actually make things work. So that's exactly what we did. All of us had similar.
Hold on. Should I call it nerd camp?
You can call it a nerd camp, but it did wonders for all of us.
No, I know. I'm part of a nerd camp.
Okay,
So,
so this nerd camp, as you mentioned, what we basically did was we, through our own initiative,
yeah,
we learned a lot of things, and not really through all these courses on Coursera or other online platforms, because
yeah,
that was just another form of rote learning, I would say, because I wasn't really putting my skills to test through those platforms. So we learned, we garnered all these, knowledge platforms. We learned a lot, and then we actually put these insights to test in case competitions, in publications, in live projects that we did as a part of that society. The major highlight of the society was that we were constantly participating in case competitions, be it public policy case competitions, be it business case competitions, be it investment banking case competitions. And it was a game changer, when I tell you, sir, and all the viewers, that it actually helped me learn the importance of, communication, how to perceive a problem, how to break down a problem, how to read between the lines, and how to even write between the lines a solution that would actually solve a problem on ground or at a business conglomerate level. And also the importance of storytelling. Yes, storytelling is not just for kids. Storytelling, I think, um, tags along with you
yeah, yeah,
from the age of 3, and then it goes on till forever, like until the time you're old, be
yeah.
it storytelling in public policy sector, corporate, or even in your general life. It is a very important skill. So
Okay.
through all of these things, through all these case competitions, publications, etc., I learned these skills. And I can say that I was fortunate enough to have that peer background, being from one of the prestigious universities and colleges in India. But I really feel that there is a need to, imitate these similar initiatives in other colleges and other universities in India and the other Southeast Asian countries as well, because I really feel that these are important in shaping the way an individual at a college level perceives their life, perceives their career, and perceives their postgraduate opportunities. So when a very interesting and mind-boggling fact that I read
Hang
about
on,
these employees.
before you go there, I fully agree with you. Okay. Let me just say that I fully agree with you. Uh, Going to college is not about going to class.
Yeah, true.
Classes. Oh, by the way, they have classes too.
Yeah, actually, very funny thing that I recently learned online was that college life is something like kindergarten. Someone compared it to kindergarten. You don't have any specific routine. You go out there, meet people, you do whatever you want to do on your own. There are no guide, like there is no fixed guide that is asking you to do this particular thing. It's
Okay.
you're on your own basically.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that is very fun. And very interesting fact that I read was that about 55% of the global workforce needs to upskill or reskill themselves by 2024 to stay relevant in the job market. Now that is something that blew my mind, because 50% of the global workforce is a lot. And within a year and a half, reskilling or upskilling them is a huge cost in terms of productivity, in terms of lost productivity, and in terms of monetary costs as well. And it is a major issue again. So I think to save ourselves some money in the future, it is very important to look at reskilling and upskilling in a new way. And I think NEP that was launched last year was a way towards that. But then again, initiatives at the level of student communities is required, because unless you yourself take initiative to learn something, the outcomes won't be the same as when you're asked to do something by someone just for grades or scores, because
Right.
obviously the learning outcomes differ, right?
Yes.
So that is one thing. Now again, when I look at the soft skills aspect, because technical skills are job specific, you can learn those when you join a company or whatever, but non-technical skills are something that you can learn on your own. And one way to do that, as I mentioned, was through participating in case competitions or publications or life projects. Now, another thing that is a major part of every college student's life is internships.
Yeah.
And later on, after I talk about my internship experience in what to look for in internships, I would also like to raise a very prominent concern and a dialogue that is happening in the student community and the junior employee level community. So internships, as I mentioned, are an integral part of a student's college student's life.
Yeah.
They not only offer you the like offer you experience, but you also get an opportunity to explore your interests, explore the course of your future life, and try your hands at different things. So fortunately, I like coming from belonging in a good academic ecosystem, and also coming from a fortunately coming from a decent socioeconomic background, I had an opportunity to participate or be a part of a lot of organizations in different ecosystems in different industries. So during my first year, I interned at a research organization where my role was focused on, basically gender studies and rural economics, basically research in these couple of intersection of these topics. And after that, I interned at a database journalism house, which was again a big leap for me. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I tried to stay in the same circle, followed by an internship in the social impact consulting ecosystem in my final year. So it was again like an amazing set of opportunities throughout these 3 years. But one issue that bugged me at the end of my college year, I started realizing that something in this internship ecosystem is wrong, and that is the dialogue and the debate between paid and unpaid internships.
Right.
Now, it is a widely debated issue, and it has gained traction over the past 2 3 years because people have realized over the course of the pandemic that something about this particular issue is fundamentally unethical and exploitative. Now, I was not aware of this phenomenon when I had joined college. So during the first 2 years of my college, I was very enthusiastic about it. I was just willing to sacrifice anything, my time, my interests, my mental health for internship, for an unpaid internship. And I was very willing to do so because just for college credits, just for a good resume, and just for the exposure. But it was not until my third year that I realized that again that these are fundamentally, I mean, exploitative and unethical, because as I started interacting with other people around me, so one benefit of being in a public university is that you have a wide social circle full of people coming from all different sorts of backgrounds.
Yes.
So I interacted with a lot of people who did not have the same socioeconomic privilege as I did.
Yes.
And I realized that class and economic background do play a very important role in determining I mean, what people opt for these unpaid internships. And I realized that there's a huge bunch of people. There are many people, many of my friends did not and were not able to afford these unpaid internships simply because they did not have that privilege that I did or my other peers did from the same background.
It's very
And
insightful. Thank you. That's very insightful on your part, to realize that there should be equality of opportunity, but there isn't. Right. Okay.
exactly. And despite there being paid internships, the kind of prestige associated with certain level of internships was something that I could not, make my mind about, because I just could not understand like what's the whole fuss around unpaid internships being the best brand out there, being the best brand on your resume. And during the end of my fifth semester, like mid third year, I realized that having a resume, like a well formed resume in my college years itself, is another privilege that a lot of students don't have access to. It's basically projects and other things that some people are only able to work on, not internships, nothing else. a lot of my friends in third year actually burned their own money to go to their offices in final year for an unpaid internship, which I thought was okay. No, this is wrong. And I realized that somewhere along my own journey during my first and second year, I myself played a major role in deepening or perpetuating this inequality. And obviously, I'm here standing here and talking about this right now, but I do feel that I somewhere played a part, because I still remember telling my friends in second year that this internship is amazing. Even though it is unpaid, I think you should go for it because it just offers you a lot of exposure. But it is not until recently that I realized that that was wrong on my part as well. And I think that there needs to be more discussion about this in the policy ecosystem or in the corporate ecosystem, because these are some issues that mostly students are facing right now and it is not being debated elsewhere. And as all of us economics students are taught at the very onset of our economics courses that there are no free lunches in the world.
Yes.
So why do organizations and big conglomerates have get to have them? Since like every adult above 18 years of age should be entitled to a minimum wage at least, if not a maximum wage. So I think it is time that we do discuss, the this dilemma of paid versus unpaid internships, and offer, again, as you mentioned, the equality of choice and equality of work to all the students around,
Yeah.
and not only in esteemed universities.
Yeah.
And with that, I would like to end my discussion here, and would also love to know your views on this, sir.
Oh, I think that you have hit on the theme that I have been talking about for some time, and that is equality of opportunity. Okay, we need, in economics courses, we teach, economics of outcome, equality of outcome, which is like your Gini coefficient and your income distribution and all that. And that is all very important. But, I wrote a book on core economics. And, in economic theory, there's no chapter on inequality. Usually in the econ textbooks, there's no chapter on inequality. So I have one chapter on inequality. And at its conclusion, what I wrote is that what matters in countries, especially in India and other countries, is equality of opportunity, not just the current inequality of incomes and the current inequality of, say, wealth, right? But it also matters whether there's equality of opportunity. And this is a serious problem in India. And, a part of it, I'll tell you from my recent experience. I work as a mentor for an NGO that has been set up by somebody who made a lot of money in the US is from IIT. It's called FEA. It used to be whatever the initials used to mean, doesn't mean anything now. It's FEA. And what they do is they offer free development of soft skills. You mentioned soft skills. The free development of soft skills, and especially teaching English to people who are hardworking and motivated, but couldn't get a good education because they didn't have the money. And they really are not the poorest of the poor. They're poor, but they're not the poorest of the poor. But they couldn't have a good education, and they don't come from your and my socioeconomic background. Their parents are not educated, or maybe their father is somewhat educated, the mother is not, and there's no one in their family who can guide them at crucial times. So this is really where FEA steps in, and they use people who are experienced and successful as mentors. A mentor is really wrong word, because you are talking to a group of 10, 15 to 20 young people at the same time, right? So you are talking to them, answering their questions and so on. And you can see the inequality of opportunity. The questions they ask, somebody in their family should be able to answer, or somebody in their circle should be able to answer, or somebody in their neighborhood should be able to answer. Like one of the women asked me that, look, I didn't even know how to pose a question properly. She said, well, I want to study to be a doctor, so I'm taking this medical test. can I also do education at the same time? So it was very confusing. What do you mean education? What she really meant was, can I still make some money by giving younger kids tuition and take some time out from earning money? I mean, from studying for this test. How can I manage both? There's nobody to ask, right? There's no, and she needs the money from making the tuition. She's capable and she knows how to do it. And I had one of the other women had also asked me, sir, can I do tuition? I said, and what do you teach in your tuition? She looked so puzzled. She says, whatever they want to learn. What sort of a stupid question is this? That, if they want to learn mathematics in 4th grade, I teach them that. If they want to learn science in 9th grade, I open the book, I understand it, I teach them that. So they are working very hard to get ahead. Like now, I'm doing a class at 7 a.m. India time, right? And all of them are coming at 7 a.m. And one of the guys told me, sir, previous time, he said, sir, I go to work at 6 a.m. I come home at 6 p.m. I'm in your class at 7 p.m. I said, oh, okay. So this is the problem that we have, that there are hardworking. You don't have to tell them to work hard. They're hardworking because why are they here, right? They're motivated because they're here. So they're not your typical college student. They are really very hardworking and very motivated, but no support, no support.
Exactly.
So the soft skills, I see it all the time. I've been a mentor. Many of my friends are also mentors. We've been doing this for some time. And especially the women are a little bit under patriarchy. And I decided that, look, I'm like their Dadaji. So what should I talk to them? So I decided to have some of my friends who are women as mentors along with me as guests, even though the NGO has no such policy. I said, look, it's not right to talk to a 20-year-old woman and look like her grandfather, who's the main obstacle. Better get somebody like her. So we have that. So I see that, especially for the young women, it's a double lack of opportunity because they have to cope with their traditional society requirements and needs for women in India, plus the income gap.
Exactly, true.
It's not
Very
just
true.
the income gap, it's also the social barriers. How can I become this? How can I do this? How can I do that? And it's tough. So I see it all the time. And you have put it so eloquently that, look, there is a real issue. And certainly everybody I met says that when you go to college or you go to JNU for your master's, and then you see people from all over India and all types of socio-economic background, and you see their struggles and you see how they are looking to get ahead. Now, of course, many of them are success stories, so it is partly alleviated by their, at least the application and admission is still on merit. Okay? You just can't say, I'm privileged, please admit me. No.
Yeah.
It's not
Although
like
there are students that do that, but I'm just happy to know that we have equality of, I mean, at least we're achieving equality and offering quality education to students.
yeah,
Also, two things that I'd like to mention here
please.
is that also a fact that would also make you happy is that a recent skills report released by an organization in India only. It's called the Employability Skills Report. So, under that report, a surprising fact came up that 56% of the Indian women, employable women in the age group of 20 years to, I guess, 35 years, are employable and preferred by the employers as compared to 43% of the men in the same age group. Now,
Yeah.
that is something that, I mean, obviously makes us happy given that women have struggled to make the mark in the corporate world. And as I was reading this report, I guess a couple of months ago, I think it just offered me a torch of hope for the future world. And another thing is that language barrier in colleges is also a major issue. So I had friends who were not very fluent in English. And as you mentioned right now, right, that you do offer coaching to people who maybe are not as fluent in English or don't know how to communicate in English. So it is another issue that I realized. But his story is a success story because now he's he's working at a really good investment banking firm despite the major roadblock that he faced during his first or second year, and they're doing exceptionally well. I know 3 or 4 people like this, and I truly believe that once you impart knowledge, it's just like you can't force that, you can't like contain that energy anymore, because once people have the means to communicate their thoughts and once people know how to tell their own story, they can do anything. And I really think that more initiatives in this direction and more debate on this direction would be very important and helpful for the Indian workforce.
Yeah, I agree. And just yesterday I talked to a student who, they're success stories, but it's a selective sample. This is the
Yeah.
problem that I'm facing, that I get only those who are successful. It's a selective sample. Selective sample is encouraging. He said, I was in Kanpur and somebody told me he wanted to do econ, but somebody told him you don't have to do math in high school in 11th and 12th. So
Mhm.
he didn't. Then when he wanted to do his BA, he was stuck. But
Yeah.
Xavier's in Mumbai admitted him at that time. They didn't require mathematics. Now they do, I guess. But he says, when I went to Xavier's in Mumbai, my world changed because no one from my family had gone to such a place. Nobody had left Kanpur. And here I was not able to speak English properly in South Mumbai, different world. And
Yeah.
but not only succeeded in Xavier's, he also joined many clubs like you and many societies. And then he managed to get into Delhi School of Economics, which I said, oh my gosh, that's really very tough. He says, yeah, it's very tough. And he did well. He's got himself a good corporate job. So there are success stories, but the problem is that I don't hear the lack people who didn't succeed.
Mhm.
The people who got left behind, they are not on LinkedIn, they are not on Quora, they are not on my feeds, right? So I
True.
get it's a selective sample. That's why I see the FEA students, none of them are on LinkedIn or Quora, or, they're all on Facebook, I'm sure, but not on my Facebook. But,
Yeah.
they are all on Insta also, obviously, but they are still facing, and then they are the elite of the marginalized. I call them the elite of the marginalized. Again, I'm not getting the random average, and
Mhm.
certainly not below average. So, but when you see that there is still, even in the elite of the marginalized, right, that how behind they are,
Mhm.
And of course, FEA has recently started to move into villages where you cannot do it in English. You have to do it in Hindi, which is okay. I'm fine. So, and they are really way, way, way behind because they really are stuck. When I asked one village group that, do you have power cuts? And they just laughed. They said, no, we have power supply once in a while.
Yeah,
Forget
that's an
power cuts.
unnatural.
Forget power cuts. This is a wrong concept. When it comes, right? So this is Haryana, okay. But what I'm saying is that uh, FEA has currently 50,000 students, and
Mhm.
they will soon have, as they move out into, they're only in 9 North Indian states, they will have 200,000, at least 2 lakh.
That's great.
Huge number of people who really are capable, hardworking,
Mhm.
motivated, but just need that push to get them ahead. And that's what you have also told me. But I can tell you that I have been seeing it for the last 2 or 3 years, 4 years. And we are always, though I have no link of any type with FEA in the sense of being on the board or whatever. I just do the mentor work. I don't even know how they select these students. Look, I'm not interested. You just bring them to me and I'll deal with them. I think that such non-profit organizations are the answer. There's no
Mhm.
way
Right.
that the government can, no use writing policy papers for the governments. By I say governments, including state governments and union government. They have reached the limit of what they can do. They have reached.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's I just wanted to pitch in that it's another task, translating those policy papers to grassroots level. And I think it's people like you, it's students like us, people like the founders of FEA that can offer the voice to the people that you mentioned we cannot reach, because those success stories, they were someday, like at one point of time, they were not as successful. And us talking about that here on a platform that could reach a lot of people actually raises the concern. And I mean, I think, as you mentioned, non-profit organizations, NGOs are the right point to begin this change. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, by the way, I mean, I have now made it, I say there are 5 actors that are needed to make India well off by 2047. I won't be around, but you will be. So you need the union government, you need the state governments, you need the Panchayati Raj, you need the municipal authorities, and number 5, you need new non-profit institutions. I don't call them NGOs because they are not separate from the government. They are non-profit institutions, okay? And they are really, should be composed of people like you and funded by others who have made money in the last 30 years, right? Honestly, if these people don't come forward, how do you expect the children of a Narega family born now or born 5 years ago to become well off by 2047? They don't go to a lousy school. Chances are they're malnourished and stunted. They don't have good medical care. So come 2047 and you want to celebrate we are a prosperous country. What will they do? What will they do? They will just be stuck in the same hellhole. Because you tell them, oh, you have to work hard. They say, work hard at what? Where's the job? What's the skill? I have nothing, So we really need people to grow into the sense that an NGO employs people, okay? But that is not a mood that everybody can be in. Okay? You cannot give up your career and just become an NGO worker. That's why I'm calling it a non-profit institution. It puts together the part-time energies of motivated people. I don't know yet how to do it. I'm looking at it. I'm thinking about it. But you are more aware of what's happening in India. And what you need is to tap into those who can devote, like FEA asks me 1 hour a week. My sessions run 2 hours because I just talk to them, not one, but who can put in 2-3 hours a week at different times and find a way to channel this into something that you are interested in. Doesn't matter what others think about it, that you are interested in. You are a networker, people like this. You can make it happen. Create a non-profit institution. Don't take any foreign money because India has plenty of money. Don't, the old days of money coming from abroad, it's over. We don't need any money from abroad. People have money. They also have some time. How to knit all of these people together so that working part-time, and of course you need some people on the ground also. And those can be the people who are really looking at that work as a way up, right?
I actually do have a lot of friends who are, interested in this kind of work and are looking forward to a point in time where they have their own money and they can channel some of it into such causes, but also at the same time maintaining their independence and, earning some money so that they can actually fund some of these causes. So I mean, I can assure you that there are a lot of students out there.
I know. I meet them all the time. I talk to people all the time. So I know there are, but I am not able yet, sitting so far away, to find a way to do it, to channel this energy. Because a lot of people ask me, sir, what can I do? And I say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a channel. I have a channel which is coming up, but let me not waste my time talking about that because it doesn't do this. What I want you to think about is how to find people who can work part-time and devote their energy part-time as needed, as called upon, and have a very small core of workers and a large number of supporters, and find a common interest, a common cause. That's the only way forward. Writing policy papers for the state government, I mean, it's a dead idea. It's not going to do it. They are fighting elections on various other things. They are not going to do this. And the union government really doesn't control this education. Education is really state subject in the constitution, and it's really up to the states, and certainly the elementary schools, which is where we have to begin. And by the way, just to mention, you mentioned NEP. In that is a section on 0 to 3 years. It's a very small section. I think it's 3 or 4 paragraphs, 0 to 3. And everybody now knows that the ages 0 to 3 are the most critical for learning. And they promise that they will have, the document says Anganwadi. Okay, the Anganwadi ladies are very hardworking. Those Asha women are very motivated, very dead. But you haven't given them a proper job. They are on voluntary emoluments, honorarium, and all. They are struggling, especially in the COVID, to get their job done. And
the story.
You add this to their job. They, please, there's a limit to what you can give as responsibility to those women without paying them any money. And it's such in India, it's a very new idea. It's a new idea everywhere. And, some of the programs that you might be familiar with, such as Sesame Street, they were developed for ages 5 and above when they started. And now they've moved it down to 2 and 3 year olds. So those lessons are going out to 2 and 3 years old. Of course, in different ways, obviously, but that's where the key is. So if I can suggest one thing to you, it is 0 to 3. Focus on 0 to 3. And another thing I can suggest to you is get students who are like in 8th, 7th, 8th, 9th, anywhere to learn chess. Chess is free, it's cheap. There's no cost, there's no equipment. If you have a phone, you can play chess with anybody online, anywhere in the world. Right? You don't need any equipment, you don't need a local teacher, you don't need anybody. The rules are clear. If you're smart, you get the rules right away. I've got the rules, but I cannot play. I cannot look 5 moves ahead. But what the hell, I'm not the guy. You are looking at young people. And that way they become global. They connect with players all over the world. So that's another of my ideas. It's there, by the way, in the NEP. Chess clubs. But, the chess clubs will be run in summer. I said, what, the chess is not something you play for 2 months in a year. What will you do in the, you need to run it every day. So think of something.
Consistency is the key to everything, like every single thing.
Yeah, okay. So it's very good. Anything else you want to add at this time?
Not really. I mean, I think these were the 2 most passionate subjects that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
That's all.
And by the way, I picked up the term nerd camp from my wife's friends. Okay. They are all got PhDs and they, from various places, and every time they meet and they say, oh, we are going to nerd camp. We are going to nerd camp.
So we've been called that multiple times in college, but I don't think any of that deters us from doing what we do.
Yeah.
So it's fun that way. I mean, we enjoy it. Everyone else, we don't care about them. So I think that does the job.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Shrusti. It was great to talk to you, and keep in touch. Maybe we bring you back 1 year later to see where you are, what you have achieved and what you are doing. All right. Okay, let's end this here. Let me say bye to everybody and say I'll be back again with another young person. Bye, everyone. Okay.